All right, let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who joined the webinar from across the globe. Welcome to Visual Testing Elevated, where me and my two lovely colleagues we will be talking about the latest upgrades on Percy and also about visual testing in general. I am Danny, um, your moderator for the event. All right. So I have two lovely colleagues with me. One is Ashish. He's the group PM for Percy and App Percy. And the other, which also joined by Ninad, who is a team lead of engineering at Percy and App Percy. Yeah, Ashish, you want to say hi to the team, and then after you're done, maybe Ninad could take it over.
Sure. Thanks, Danny. And hi, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. And as Danny said, I'm taking care of Percy as a PM. And I'll be happy to share details, more insights about the visual testing, how Percy can be helpful. So yeah, that will be a good next 60 minutes. I hope that will be informative and you guys get most out of it.
Awesome. Ninad?
Hey everyone, I'm Vinod. I'm a lead of engineering here at Percy, and excited to show you new features of specifically Percy and the new SDKs that we are coming up with. So stay tuned.
Awesome. All right. Before we proceed to the agenda, a couple of housekeeping items. Please note that the session is being recorded and the recording will be made available to all attendees. And our session will run for 60 minutes, like Artish already mentioned. All participants will be muted, and we will have a dedicated 15 minutes of AMS session towards the end. And yeah, if you have attended Zoom webinars, you know that there is a Q&A feature. So please make use of that. We have a dedicated team who are manning this Q&A section, and they will be answering your questions, and whatever question remains unanswered, we will address them at the end. All right, let's get into our agenda. We have four features and one product that we will be talking about today. The first one is layout testing for web, which we recently launched the alpha version. Second is Percy on Automate. Third, Percy BrowserStack SDK for Percy. And fourth, Percy Chrome Extension. These are features on Percy Web. And then also we will be talking about our new product, App Percy, which is a visual testing solution for mobile. All right, okay. Let's get started. So first things first, why don't we start with Percy layout testing, Ashish, Ninad. Guys, we know that when we perform visual testing, you guys must be performing visual testing in your in your teams and in your organization, right? And we all know that visual testing, what people traditionally understand from visual testing is whether your visual, what you can see, your objects, your text are changing or not. But layout testing is also important, right? So yeah, before we delve too deep into this, I'd like to launch a poll just to gauge how you are currently performing visual testing in your team. So yeah, you must be seeing a poll on your screen. We have three options. First is completely manual. Second is a combination of manual and automated. And third is completely automated. So yeah, guys, please vote and let us know. And we'd love to see where, how you're currently performing visual QA testing at your team. All right, we'll give 10, 15 seconds and we will be looking at the result. Yeah, I hope you're able to see the poll option on your screens. All right. Okay. 57% are still completely manual. 36% a combination of manual and automated, and 6% completely automated. Wow. What are your thoughts on this, Ashish?
Yeah, so seems like we have still a job to do to reach out everybody and help people automate the visual testing.
Yeah,
because this is a area which what I feel is like we have recently posted a white paper as well, and guys feel free to share, check that out, the white papers, why visual testing is really important. The reason, a couple of pointers that we shared over there, but one of the things that if I highlight, most of the folks feel like they should start with functional testing because that's more important. But what you end up doing is like you start writing your automation script to take care of the visual issues as well in that. And eventually what happens is where with visual testing, you can achieve something with just one line of code, taking care of all the visual issues, padding issues, alignment issues, color issues easily, which just require one line. You end up writing, let's say, around 50 lines of code, considering just a simple login page, if I'm referring to. So because you will be testing your text fields, login text field, password text field, login button, sign up button, different combinations. So it saves a lot of time. You will be saving a rough calculation, if I say, approximately 60-70% of your time, because you will be just making sure that when the values are there in the text field, the login is working. You are getting an authorization token from the server. That's what the functional testing should do, nothing more than this. So yeah, and I guess one of folks
we'll be
can
sharing
just
it
share
in
the link
chat.
over here at the white paper, so folks can even have a look at the end of the session as well.
Got it. Yeah, and actually, you're already on it, so why don't you start talking about Percy layout testing, what layout testing really is, how is it different from our traditional visual testing, and why did we build this feature in the first place? Over to you.
Sure, definitely. So yeah, I guess folks who are joining, I know I saw the poll, so folks still on doing the manual or even the automation, you must have seen like, okay, when you have I'll be sharing my screen as well so that you guys see about this. So even this, there is a doc section for the layout. You guys can go visit, check it out, see the details about Percy. But over a brief, if I can quickly share, what happens is when you are doing the validation, like a visual testing, you see this whole page, and any changes in this page, like even if I highlight a text like this, if I change this process to something else, the visual testing in default will highlight that, okay, there is a change. Let's say this process was here. Now, in some updates, this text got missing. Percy will highlight the visual changes automatically. And if you have a build getting created via your GitHub PRs, so your PR gets blocked because PR will have, okay, there are visual changes that you should review. And Percy will directly give you the link in the PR status saying there is one visual change and this is the build URL. So you can click and come to Percy directly, review the change. And if it is intended or unintended, you can take a call. But that's like a normal visual testing. In some scenarios, you don't want to do the normal visual testing. You want to have a layout testing. And if I tell you about the layout, basically, though it's not the very right example for everybody to explain, but if I scroll a bit, you see an image. In this one, you see how Percy is highlighting the layout changes. So this is the page, like the example I was giving. So there is a left portion here that you see and the right image. What Percy is highlighting, Percy is not highlighting what has changed in the email. So you see the email field here has a different email on the right-hand side image versus the left. The Percy is not highlighting that one because here we are testing the layout, which is expected, like you are doing different runs, so email might change. So in that case, Percy is not highlighting the text value change. Percy is also telling you why this is not highlighted, because here you see it's a layout diff. So Percy marks that clearly saying you are seeing a layout comparison. So you focus basically the layout differences. Now what you see here is this sign-in text got changed to login text, but that's not the highlight. The highlight is button relative position has changed. Now your button has moved down. That's where the relative change is happening in the position of your login page. That you should be aware of, that somebody has moved the button, let's say 20 pixels down. At the same time, you see at the bottom where Facebook, Twitter, and GitHub options were there for the login. Those from horizontal alignment became vertical alignment. That's a layout shift. That's what Percy is highlighting for you, that, okay, there is a layout shift that you should be aware of, because this is a significant change. If it is a decision taken by the designer in a product meeting, it's fine. You just approve this snapshot. So you will see there is a thumbs up icon. You approve this. Once you approve, that becomes your baseline. So that's where there are two sort of testing, what you can achieve. One is the overall testing, like any changes in this page, if it is there, Percy will highlight. The second is you don't want to see any changes. You just want to see the layout. So you just focus on the layout. And while doing this, basically you just need to set a flag called enable layout, like Percy snapshot thing, enable layout true, and Percy will do the layout testing. So you can have a snapshot where you do the comprehensive visual testing. And at the same time, you can have the same snapshot being visually tested for layout, or a different snapshot being layout tested versus one is comprehensive in the same build. So you don't require like running a separate build altogether.
That's
And
awesome.
I believe the importance is pretty visually clear, like when and what you want to run it. So yeah, that's one of the reasons like why we have to invest a lot of time, find the right solution so that you guys can run it in the same build.
Yeah, it's imperative to ensure a consistent and visually appealing user interface, right? So yeah, Nina, why don't you spin it up and show the attendees how this feature works? Would love to see that.
Sure, I'll just give me a minute. Yeah. So I'm just going to show first what we are going to run this on so that you get the idea on what kind of testing we are doing. So say, look at this, for example, this is a very basic test page that we have created, the demo page for BrowserStack. What we have is we have some options, add to cart options. We can see some phones here and we have vendor options here. So I'm just going to quickly click on Apple and you can see that only Apple devices are selected. While if I click on something like Samsung on top, then you can see Samsung devices are selected. Oh, sorry. Okay. Only if Samsung is selected, then Samsung devices are selected. Now, what we want to test here in standard phase is if standard Percy will look for image to image comparison, while layout would look for are these cards in current location. Even though without actually looking at the content of the card. Now, I'll quickly show you how to do it, but just before that, as a newcomers, let's just tell you how to create a new Percy project. At start, this feature is currently supported in Percy web projects. So on a new project screen, you have to make sure that it is a web project selected with a Percy browser selection enabled. And when you have created such a project, you can run layout in it, and I'll give you a small example of that as well. So this is a basic example, basic Selenium test. A lot of these are standard Selenium imports, nothing specific here. But what we have specifically is from Percy, we are importing Percy snapshot. Now that comes from the Percy Selenium package that we already have for Python. And we also have defined a package JSON just to define Percy CLI so that we can use Percy CLI while running the tests. And just to go through it, the way in which this test is designed right now is at start, we will run one run with where Samsung is selected so that only Samsung devices are shown. And then we take a screenshot of it. So there are two screenshot statements here. In general, you will not have two for exact same test, but this is specifically added here to show you the difference between what it would look like with layout enabled versus without layout enabled. And on the same page, we will basically take the both screenshots. And then we are just quitting the driver. It looks everything else is standard. So I have already exported the Percy token, which is part before you execute the Percy script. And the command would be something like npx Percy exec with Python 3 test file that we have. So while this is running, as it will take some time, I have already executed this build for you to show you how it looks like. So these are the two screenshots. One is with layout and one is without layout, the standard one. In a standard case, you can see that there are good amount of differences. Actually, let me move into side-by-side mode. So on the left-hand side, you can see that all the Samsung devices are shown on the page. And on the right-hand side, all the Apple devices are shown on the page. Now, in the standard mode, because pixel by pixel diffing is done, you will see differences in quite a lot of areas. As every single phone image has changed, as well as the name of the phones, the prices, and everything else has changed. So that including even things like what is highlighted in terms of vendors. So you see the differences in that area. While if you try to look at same with a layout version, then you can see that only 2 extra cards are shown as a layout difference. All the other differences are fully ignored. Now, let me just switch to a single mode so that I can show you better. In such a case, you can see that there are multiple differences. Here, you can see there are 9 products. Originally, there were 7 products, and now there are 9. And that specific change is fully ignored. We do not see that as a change on a layout level. Similarly, vendors were changed from Apple to Samsung. That is something we do not see on the differences. And we can also see that, okay, none of these images, none of their titles, none of that is actually shown into a layout div. But 2 extra cards are added, and those cards you see at a type of layout div. So yep, that's it for layout. Awesome. It's pretty straightforward to use. Just enable layout. This actual command will be slightly different depending on what framework you use and what language you are using. But we have documentation for all of it. So that will certainly help you with it.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Nina. And guys, if you have any more questions around layout testing, please make use of this Q&A. All right, let's move on to Percy on Automate. Now we've spoken about the different type of testing layout versus your usual pixel to pixel differences. Now let's talk about from a workflow perspective, right? Every team that has automation, you will have your functional suite, and then when we talk about visual test automation, then it's a separate suite, right? That tends to be how things are structured right now. But we know that that's not the most efficient way that we could work, and then there are some improvements that can be made. So keeping that in mind, we launched a feature, cross integration between Percy and Automate. Automate, for those who don't know, it's a web automation product by BrowserStack. And what Percy and Automate does is it lets you run functional and visual testing in a single pipeline without you having to struggle switching between two platforms and go through all that hurdles. So yeah, in order to deep dive into this, I'll hand it over to Ashish again. Over to you, Ashish.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Yeah, guys, so what this integration looks like and why that is important. So I'll just quickly walk you through, guys, a couple of doc links so you can see what I'm discussing and sharing in details. So one is like when you are running visual test, eventually you can do it in isolation as well. Like it's not necessary that you run it along with functional test. What you need to do is you have the pages like what Ninad was sharing in the previous screen. There is a Percy snapshot command. You can just have all the URLs or the pages that you are working on, the changes, written your automation script saying Percy snapshot X, Percy snapshot Y, and all those things you can just do the visual testing. But that's not like idealistic scenario. In many cases, you have your functional test already written. So what you want to do is you want to have the functional and visual test run simultaneously. So there is a doc section which explains like how you can do this together and what part of the project, like when Ninad was explaining, he explained about that you should be selecting the Percy. Similarly, there is an option for saying automate. So if you are using our automate product and running the functional test with automate, you select the option saying automate over here. And with this, your functional test while running on our automate terminals, the visual testing will also happen in parallel. There is a good video that you guys can have a look. It will give you a quick sense how these things are running together at the advantages of this. The basic advantage, if I can tell you, is in the debugging. So when you see the differences happening, you also want to debug deep dive, like what's going wrong. So in Automate, we already have this debug feature built in where we have the sessions recorded with the video capture. So while you see the difference on Percy, if you see like some images were not loaded, what went wrong, you can have a quick look at the same time on the videos in the Automate session. There is a deep link between Percy and Automate, so you can always switch between these two dashboards. And also there is a section on Automate which has the network logs captured. So you can even see what was going wrong with the network, so that you can debug quickly. The second is you have a quick sample to run with Automate. So you can just have just to try it out. Let's say the folks joined here. Visit this URL, have a look, and it has all the things necessary, even the GitHub repository sample. So you can try it out today. Even the Automate product has a free trial thing. So you don't need to worry about any licensing, just sign up and try out the product. Both Percy and Automate, you can just run it together without any concerns. So give it a try. There is just a sample git clone, few commands on your terminals, and it's get going. The third thing, which I would say even further, we have investing a lot of time and effort to simplify the integration for you guys, because I saw like many folks said they are still manual testing, right? So to simplify the life, what you can do is definitely here we are talking about the automation setup, the SDK installation, but those are like still a manual step. Like you just go in the terminals, type certain things, refer this page, and it's all done. The advantages that I want to highlight when you try with BrowserStack SDK, which is one of our upcoming thing, you will have Percy without these modes on, like auto, test case, click, and just have a quick glimpse on this. Auto mode is basically saying you don't need to even this Percy snapshot command that Ninad was referring to, you don't need to worry about. So what Percy has done is you install the BrowserStack SDK, the recommended approach, I would say. Run with the automate your functional test, whatever you are going to try it out. And then just enable Percy. Go in the config file, say enable Percy, and you will have functional and visual test running together. Also, for the manual folks, I believe this is quite simple steps. You don't need to think about where to write the Percy snapshot at what stages. Or let's say you want to just capture one snapshot per test case. You have hundreds of test cases already written for the automate guys here. You just say test case mode. So auto capture mode, put it as a test case. It will capture one snapshot per test case. So it's going to be quick, simple demo. Like you can just try it out for yourself and see the integration benefits. Definitely Ninad will give you a quick walkthrough about this as well post this. But I just want to highlight that these are the few things. For the manual folks, I would say give it a try. And in case you feel like still there are some efforts needed, let us know your feedback on this. At the same time, we have some exciting news about the roadmap, so I'll be sharing. We are working on something even for you guys to get started without installing anything on your machines. So that's something we'll be sharing over the next few minutes. So yeah, over to you, Danny.
Yeah, thanks, Ashish. Yeah, like mentioned, Ninad, could we please see these two features in action?
Sure. So let me first get through Percy on Automate, as we already discussed it first. So the difference that we have here is the web type, it still remains the same. Instead of Percy, you will be considering this as Automate, as the browsers on which screenshots will be taken will be same as the Automate browsers that you are using already in your functional test. So going back to code, I'll be trying to cover multiple SDKs. So I'm covering, say, .NET SDK here. In this specific case, what we see is most of this is our standard Automate script, the standard Selenium script. There is some information around username access key that you require, then the Automate URL that we have, then the browser configuration that we want to use on Automate, and then we have the actual test case. In the test case, this is again a standard functional test case, no specific difference here. What we are going to do in this is we are on the same page that we saw before, the demo page, and we are going to visit the page. We are going to add an item in cart, take a screenshot of it. I think like we are going to take one screenshot before, and then we are going to add an item in cart and then take another screenshot. Now the changes that you specifically require in .NET would be the package, as we already saw that we require package.json for Percy CLI. Similar to that, the other change that you will need is in your actual solution file, you have to make sure that Percy IO Selenium package is added so that you can call the Percy screenshot command. Now, in the test itself, the primary changes that you have to do is do Percy.screenshot command. Whenever you want a new screenshot, you just call it with the driver and the name of the screenshot, and we will be taking the screenshot right there, and you can see it on the screen. Now, in order to run it, it is basically similar command. You have npx Percy exec followed by the actual test command that you have. And while I'm running this, I'll also show you how it looks like. So as the test is running, we can see that test is running currently on, say, Windows 11, Chrome v20. And if you have multiple browsers here that you're running it on, you can see it here. You will see the width, the resolution of the browsers, and all of those changes. Along with that, the actual screenshots, we can see that we have product screen and the card screen. And if I open the diff overlay here, in this case specifically, I think the card icon has not loaded. And that is a change on the page, and that is what we are highlighting here. So we have card icon here missing. Similarly, on a product addition page, the card icon and the cross icon is missing. And that's it for, like, that's how the Percy on Automate is used. Now, you can have more amount of, you can add the screenshot command in any number of tests that you want. But just to move forward with BrowserStack SDK, this is a slightly tedious work. If you have quite a lot of tests, then you will have to update a lot of tests to add this Percy screenshot command in all of them. So I'll just move to another demo of something like BrowserStack SDK. So this is specifically on JS, but we also support similar features on .NET. So what we are going to do here is, this is a very basic SDK script. And where we can see we are using a local server to run the test. Similar test again, we are opening the BrowserStack demo, and we have some elements that we are adding, then we are adding something to cart, and then we are going to take it. Now, in here, you primarily see that there is no Percy screenshot command in this entire code base. Similarly, there is no Percy imported anywhere either. The only difference changes that we are doing here is in BrowserStack YAML that you are already using with BrowserStack SDK. we have just say changed the project name in this specific case, and we have added a Percy true and Percy capture mode as auto. Now, what auto Percy capture mode means is anytime you have any kind of send keys command or click commands in your existing Selenium script, we will automatically take a screenshot at that specific point. And the screenshot will be automatically named. It will be automatically captured across all the devices that you are using. So you require basically 0 changes in your test code. Now, in order to run this, I think I'll just quickly show you how package.json is here. We have added BrowserStack local, and the Mocha is the test framework that we are using, the Selenium WebDriver, because we are writing a Selenium test. And other than that, we don't really have any other changes, but we are executing our test using the BrowserStack Node SDK. And it basically does all the magic. You don't have to specifically install Percy CLI anymore. You don't have to add any Percy commands. In fact, you don't even need to create a new Percy project. Using your existing Automate credentials and whatever project name you are giving here in the config, it will automatically create a new project if it is required. And if you already have a project with that name, then it will add screenshots in the same project. Now, while I run this, I'll also show you the demo of how it looks like. Let me quickly move to demo for this. So here we can see that the 2 screenshots are taken automatically, even though there were no specific screenshot commands given in my script. And these are automatically taken at 2 places here. There is a click functionality on top where we are adding first product to the cart, and there is another click when we are adding another product to the cart. And the naming convention that we use is basically automatically created by using your test primary name and the actual, the it block that you have. So whatever is your test fully qualified name, that will be the base of the screenshot name. And followed by that, we will be adding the actual action that you have. For example, if we are capturing it on click, then we will add -click at the end. So if we go back to this, you can see something like this. You have vstack card functionality. That is your primary text name. Then char add items to the card. That was the it block. And then we have click 1. Similarly, this is the actual first one. We have click 0 and click 1 happening at the same time. And that's something you can also see that it is working. It will basically work across all the browsers that you are using it on. So yeah, that's primarily it for BrowserStack SDK. And yep, that's it. Anything else?
Awesome. Yeah, Nina, if you could also please show debug in automate feature, I think that would be awesome. The debug in automate feature. Debug in automate feature.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'll surely show that as well. So say if you see some kind of issues here, for example, this is not loaded and you want to know what happened in the test at that point, then you can just click on this small arrow here and you will get an option to debug in automate. So if you open that in new tab, it will open the exact test session that ran on automate for this specific test. And you can then debug here. You can look at the video of what happened in the test case, and you can go through all the Selenium commands that were happening, what were the results for them. If you want to specifically know about the screenshots, you can also see the Percy screenshot commands, which are automatically added by the SDK in the auto capture mode, and the names of it and what it did. And basically, so all the things that you want to do with your debugging in terms of automate and the Selenium scripts, you can get access to it instantly from the screenshot side. Similarly, on the other hand, you can go to your Percy build as well from the automate test. You can just click on the go to build and it will open the exact build where the screenshots have landed in. So that's the 2-way integration between automate and Percy.
That is so awesome, Nina. Thank you so much. Guys, I hope you found it useful. And we know that it'll take some time playing around with the tool to understand it better. So for your reference, we will be sending you the relevant links in the chat. So please feel free to explore it yourself. And if you need help, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Yeah, thanks again, Nina. Ashish, you briefly tease about the next segment. You mentioned that we try to make it as seamless as possible for everyone, including devs and our QA users, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's also a testament of what we are trying to do at BrowserStack. We want to make the developers and the QA, the testers' lives as easy as possible. And yeah, the next feature that I want to talk about is BrowserStack SDK for Percy. So this is, BrowserStack is integration for Percy Chrome Extension. Sorry, I had it confused. And yeah, over to you, Ashish. Please walk us through why we built this and who is it for and how it works. And then after that, we can transition to Ninad and then just quickly show us how it works again.
Sure. Thanks, Danny. And yeah, guys, as I was referring to earlier, there are a couple of things that we are doing even for the manual testing team who are doing manual visual testing today, or even let's say the folks who are doing semi automation, like manual plus automation together. So what you can do is there are multiple things that we are investing at the same time, working like for the automate guys. It's very seamless experience that you can get with BrowserStack SDK, what we just show in the demo. So we invested a time at the first place with the Chrome extension. So right now you can even just go check it out. Percy Chrome extension is available. So what the manual folks can do, whatever URLs that you have, either the staging environment or the production, you can just go check out this Chrome extension, install. And once you install this, it gives you the insights along with this, like there's a public facing GitHub repository as well. You can just simply visit. Along with the Chrome extension, for you to remove all the terminal requirement that any command you need to type in your terminal, you just go check out this. It has all the platform, like whether you are using Windows, Mac, or Linux, you can just have the respective desktop version installed. The Chrome extension already automatically coordinate with these desktop apps that you will be running. What it does is, like when you are using the Chrome extension, you will see in reality how it works quickly. But if a quick glance, like it just requires your token, and then you can have the auto capture, what we just saw in the BrowserStack SDK, something similar, like you are navigating through your pages and it is capturing automatically, or you can even capture manually, like there is a capture screenshot option. Post this, there is a view snapshot, so you can see all the screenshots capture before hitting the finalize, or you can just finalize if you feel good to go. So Ninad will demonstrate this as well. But this is where, if you are doing it manually, like you are looking at all the components, minute details manually, where it's a very high likely that you consider as a human error, something might get missed. But the same URL, what you are navigating through and doing the visual validation, just use the Chrome extension, put it through Percy, and Percy will highlight the visual differences automatically for you. So it saves a lot of time, and still you don't need to put efforts like planning your automation job together. So that's one way to here that you can start the visual automation journey with Percy in a still a manual fashion, like using the Chrome extension, but removing all the hurdles of automation that you need to work on in your CI/CD setup, the code repositories and all. So yeah, guys, check it out, the Chrome extension. It should be a really good start for you to save time on the visual and also plan your visually perfect web products. And also similar thing is coming up, like we are working on the app version sooner. So you should have something similar automation done for the apps as well.
Yeah, Nina, please show us your magic again.
Yep, sure. So yeah, I have already this Chrome extension is already installed here, and I have created a new web project. I have already added token here in the extension. So let's begin. There are two parts to it, by the way. You have to install the extension as well as the desktop app, and I have this installed already. It's running in the background. The steps to install that are part of the description of the extension, so you can go through that to get it installed. Now, starting with this, I have just opened google.com page. Say I want a screenshot of this. I'll just do something like say Google, and I'll just do capture snapshot. But I might be say adding more things here. I might be searching something, and I don't want to keep like going back to this place, add another thing, hello text, and then capture snapshot again. So we can just start the auto capture mode, and it will start taking screenshots as soon as I'm typing something. So for example, say I do hello Google, and it has, you can see that there is a pop-up there, snapshot captured. Now, say I'll just open one of the links here, Google Assistant, and I'm on the another page. Now, say I go to some other app, then I can see another snapshot is captured. Now I can go down, I can see something, then maybe I can go to something else, say Google Translate, and another snapshot is captured. And now whenever I'm done, like say, or I could just totally change the site to something else as well. Say I go to Wikipedia, and that would also capture another snapshot. So once I'm done with my session, there are two things that we can do here. I'll first stop the auto capture mode. There are two versions. Either you can view the snapshots that you want, or you can finalize them. So let's go through the view flow. Right now, we can see that there are a bunch of snapshots automatically captured. Some of them I have captured myself, like Google or Hello Text, but then there is another one automatically captured called Hello Google and everything else that we have navigated to post that. There are a few other settings that you can change if you want. You can change the name of the snapshot if you want later on, if you are not happy with whatever is auto-captured name. You can change the ways that you want to render it on and enable, disable JavaScript. So a lot of the options that we have on standard Percy, you can toggle them here. And once you're comfortable with your thing, you can just finalize it. And as soon as you finalize it, it will start working in the background. It will send the build to Percy. So while that's happening, I have one of the builds already captured here. And so right now you can see that there is a new build receiving, and it has basically sent the build and it has automatically opened the new build as well. It will take some time. While it is happening, we can just go through large build, and till then we can come back here. So going back to this was just another session that I did. We can see that there was this specific snapshot automatically captured, and you can see the screenshots here. There is something else that I'm searching for. Hello Google, hello, and then maybe Google Assistant and the Google full page. I think like a lot of things I have searched the same things even in current state as well. So okay, even current build is ready now. You can see the similar screenshots coming up here. And yeah, that's basically it. Like you basically had to execute 0 commands. All you had to do was either add snapshot name and do the capture snapshot, or just start the auto capture and just let it do its work. And whenever you are ready, just press on finalize, or you can review the snapshot first if you want to. Other than that, I think the one other command you have is if you don't want to open the extension every time, you get the context menu here, context menu option. And there you can start capture single snapshot, as well as the start the auto capture or stop auto capture from the menu itself. So yeah, that's it for your extension part.
Thank you so much for the smooth demo, Ninad. Yeah, I hope you found that interesting. I myself found that interesting and intriguing as well. So yeah, we'll be posting the link, and you can check it out yourself. All right, guys. Yeah, let's shift gears a little bit now. We've been talking about web all this time, right, since the start of the webinar. And now let's shift gears and go towards the mobile world. So we knew that we could not be serving only to the web world alone. And knowing that need, earlier this year, we launched a product called App Percy. It's a dedicated visual testing tool for native apps. And what we're trying to be is Percy as a platform for everything that you need related to visual and UI testing, right? All right, and yeah, over to you, Ashish, to walk us through in details why we built App Percy in the first place. How is it relevant for the mobile audience, and then what's in it for them?
Sure. Thanks, Danny. Yeah, guys, so as Danny said, like there has been a purpose to build the app Percy. The reason is, like today the world is moving towards app first, and almost all the companies, whether they have a very strong business presence over the mobile applications or not, has some form of the presence on the mobile applications generally. And when definitely like your business requirement is on mobile, so you can't have a mobile application releasing to customers without getting visually tested. Because what happens is in mobile, as soon as the update goes out, most of the people have auto upgrade enabled, like your application is updated in the background. And then when user launches, it's like it's very close to their human eyes. There is no possibility that something visually imperfect gets missing from a human eye. So for example, let's say your login button on a login page in the mobile application, change the color from green to red. Everybody will notice it. There is no way that somebody will miss this portion, because it's very close to human eye, and somebody is working very like single focused mind on the mobile application. There is no like multiple tabs that somebody just enter the username and password and don't worry about what color of the button is or what the size of the button is. So when something goes in the hand of a user, anything which is more personalized device, very high chances that user will notice those things. And the differences are not always like I'm saying red to green, which is a very drastic change. It could be slight gradient changes that we are talking about. Those gradient changes, like few pixel differences in the color gradient that you are putting in, or let's say even certain cases, the mobile display panel is different. So your color codes that your designer has given in, it's not looking right in certain devices, or when device OS version has upgraded, it's changed. Like the gradient have slight changes, which is causing some visually inconsistent for the human eyes, or people, customers might not like it. And again, which we talked about, like when you go to the white paper, the link shared, you will notice that even a slight change in the visual testing thing, like button color changes or the orientation changes, have significant impact on the user engagement with the product. So user like not just engage with the functionality, they engage with the visually loving product. It should be visually appealing for the users in every way possible. And in mobile devices, not just the size of the device, that every device is a different size, form factors that we know, like iPhone mini versus Max, Pro Max, or Samsung Galaxy S23 versus Pixel device. So not just the form factor, but their display density pixels are also different. So when you design, a designer has given you the mobile application UI, how the same UI implementation looks like in different forms. And when device orientation is changing, is it giving the proper orientation change? Is it giving the proper color orientation as per the density pixels? All those things matters a lot. So that's where we have invested a time and built on top of the BrowserStack largest infrastructure that we provide for the mobile devices. So the App Automate product that we have today, where we provide the largest coverage of mobile devices available with the operating system of choice, operating system version choice that you can opt for. Percy is built on top of that, like leveraging the Percy visual matching the comparison capabilities. We built this product called App Percy, which runs automatically, like what we were talking about, like a deeper integration with your functional test. App Percy already has those functionality, which is a core DNA of the App Percy. It runs along with the App Automate. It runs with the BrowserStack SDK if you upgrade to, which we recently invested, and it has a significant great adoption among our customers. You have the auto capture mode as well, what Ninad demonstrated. So you don't even need to modify your automation script today. You can just get going with the config file, and even Ninad will show the same for the App Percy as well. But it's a very simple start. You just need to download the SDK, just sign up on BrowserStack, like even a trial version if you don't have the license, and get started with this simple demo. Watch this demo, try these steps mentioned, like these 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 steps, and get going. So it gives you a very easy coverage. Like every time you are planning to release an application on app stores, you know that it's visually perfect. Because there are 2 major disadvantages if it is not tested well. One, it goes in the hands of customers without testing, so everybody will notice this, and once something goes wrong, it's hard to revert back. The second portion is, every time when the application is published on the App Store or Google Store, the review takes time, and let's say even if you quickly try to fix it, it's going to take, let's say, a few days, not weeks in case, because you publish the apps, it gets in the hands, and in God knows if Apple finds something that, okay, there is a reviews get stuck, your customers are stuck with the previous version, which is having some bugs. So it's always necessary that you make sure application goes in the hands of customer with the proper visual testing. That was one of the reason, like we found it, all the use cases around this. So not just web testing is good enough, where you can have the testing, and your screenshots or the visual comparison that Percy is doing must be generated from the original real devices. If you do it on the simulator, the density pixel portion that I was talking about, the form factors, because the display panel on the simulators is used from the desktop display panel, not the actual device. So that is where it's very important that you focus on the real devices with Percy that we provide. If you try with a simulator, you might find like something is working, but when actually in certain devices, certain pixelation happens and user finds it. So that's also a very important thing, like you try with the real devices, not with simulators.
Yeah, thanks, Ashish, for calling that out. Yes, guys, all the tests that you run on BrowserStack, they are processed all on real devices. We have a device cloud of over 20,000 real devices. So We don't compromise around with simulators or emulators. So yeah, thanks Ashish for bringing that up. Over to you, Nina. Could you please show us how Percy works, and yeah, we move on from there.
Sure. So starting with Percy, it's basically exactly the same. Like if you know how to use it for Percy for web, then or you know how to use it for Percy on Automate, then you know how to use it for Percy. The only difference is so at this point I'm going to show you with Java SDK. I'll just quickly go through the changes that you will have to make. Just like other packages that we did, we will have to add a Percy SDK in the Java application that you have, the test application that you have. Then we have our basic Appium script. So it is Appium script here instead of Selenium, but it's pretty much the same. Other than that, this remains same. Standard automate script capabilities, all of that remains same. The only difference would be like you will be giving what device do you want this test on and what app you are running it with, and that is something you will be probably already doing for existing for automation tests or functional tests as well. The difference for Percy specifically would be that you will have to import the Percy module and create a new Percy instance with a driver. So you will see that there is slight difference in how it looks like in Java instead of so in other languages we saw it's something like Percy screenshot with driver comma name, but in this specific case we are doing with Percy.screenshot and name directly. The reason we can do it here is because the Percy object is already created with driver and we know what driver we are currently working on. So that's pretty much it. Like in your current script, just add Percy screenshot commands wherever you want and just feel free to run it and you will get some screenshots directly there. Now, in order to create the app project, the one difference that you will see would be that on the create project screen, make sure that app is selected instead of web. So, and the easiest way to know that will be that whenever you have app project, your tokens will always start with app underscore. So it's less likely that you will miss using a web token in an app project or something like that. That's the easiest way. And we will certainly give you a warning if you are trying to use incorrect token. So yeah, that's the primary part. I'm going to run this quickly. But while we are doing it here right now with say Percy commands manually, there is no requirement of it as such, because in all the standard BrowserStack SDK support that we have for Percy, the auto capture mode, the test case capture mode, manual capture mode, all of that still works with app Percy as well. And you just have to integrate it with BrowserStack SDK, and the changes will be similar. In BrowserStack YML, you just have to put Percy through, Percy mode as automate, and as long as your project is also app Percy project, it will start taking screenshots and you will start seeing it in Percy. So while this is running, I'll just show you the existing script, or maybe this will also run it by the end of it. Right. So this is, for example, we are using a demo app here. It's a demo Wikipedia app where we search something, and then, so this is the homepage, that's the first thing that we take, the first screenshot. And then we search something in it and we see some search results, and you can see the keyboard and stuff here. Now, while just going through, while this build is still running, I'll just go through another build that I have already run. It is pretty much same build. The only difference that you see is here the BrowserStack has an underline on it, but here we don't have it. And maybe the keyboard has changed, and that is showing up as differences. Now, sometimes it might happen that you are seeing certain differences which you know are not really a problem. And it always sometimes shows up, sometimes does not show up for something like, say, a keyboard showing up or something like this. We already have a feature for ignore regions. You can quickly just drag an ignore region on it, paste it, and just save it. Similarly, you can add, say, another one down here. And from the next build onwards, it will ignore this specific region from any differences on these devices. The thing to remember here is that you have to configure ignore region on all the devices where you need it. It is not automatically applied across devices. So once you have done the ignore region setup here, next time you run the script, and it will automatically ignore any differences in this specific region, and you will see that the no diff snapshot. Even in this specific case, we can see that there were two snapshots. There is one unchanged and there is one changed. The unchanged one has no differences, the primary homepage, and the changed one had clicky differences, what we call. Yep. Anything else do we want to cover? I think like another feature, the similar feature still continues to work here. If you have an issue, you can just debug in Automate. It will open the link. You can see your existing entire text run here with all these Appium commands that you're executing. You can debug in to figure out what happened. You can go through the video, and all of the existing features that we discussed for a Percy on Automate continues to run here for Percy on like App Percy on App Automate as well. Now,
Yeah.
App Percy specifically also supports non-App Automate devices. So you can be running your Appium locally and you can just integrate with the App Percy. This integration features would not work, but other than that, it just continues to work as is. All it cares is you have an Appium test, you pass a driver, and App Percy will continue to work.
Awesome. Yeah. And they're practically the same, right? So App
Yeah.
Percy, we build it on top of the existing Percy platform. So if you know how to use Percy, then you should be knowing how to use App Percy, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Ninad. We've come to the roadmap. So we're done with our demo session, our new feature introductions. I'll quickly walk you through where we are. And also I saw some questions in the Q&A tab on whether we are supporting Figma integration, or are there any ways we can integrate it with Figma. So that is upcoming beyond March 2024. It's in our roadmap. And in the next 3 months, we are releasing visual monitoring for web, full page screenshot. We are going GA with Percy plus Automate, which Ninad had already presented, and many more features. And if you want to check what are the features that are currently live right now, these are some of the features that are live and many more. So you guys have the link, you guys have the documentation links, you have the white paper. So feel free to go through those, right? Okay. All right. And before we move on to the AMA session, we would like to start another poll. So if you're interested in exploring BrowserStack for your testing needs, so be it for visual testing or end-to-end website testing or mobile app testing, or even if you're already a customer, you will see a pop-up poll on your screen. So yeah, if you could please kindly respond to the poll and let us know your interest. We'd be happy to know your interest.
And also, Rennie, I guess in this whole roadmap, because we have the attendees like more than 50% still doing the visual testing manually. So we talked about the Chrome extension that you guys can try it out today. But at the same time, we are also working on something called visual monitoring that you see in the current roadmap where we are right now working. The monitoring is something also you guys can explore, like all your public facing URLs that you want to test visually. If you don't want to put efforts, like you can set up the monitors once this feature is live. Feel free to share your interest with us or reach out to us. We are hoping this feature to go live somewhere around Jan. And once this monitoring goes live, you guys can give it a try. Set up the monitor. You don't need to put manual efforts. Looking at visual changes, the monitor will find the differences and send you the notifications over your Slack or MS Teams saying there are differences. In that case, you just come along and see the changes. So it's like if there is a 60 or URLs, some X number of URLs that you have in your production websites, you don't need to worry about making sure everything looks perfect every day on a daily basis that you put efforts. Let the monitor handle this. It will give you the notifications whenever the changes are detected. So you don't need to worry about any minor bugs.
Thanks, Ashish. All right, let's now move on to the AMA session. We have a couple of questions, and guys, please keep them coming. Okay, all right. There are 2 questions unanswered. One is, do you guys have anything that compares the features of Amplitude versus the features of Percy? Yes, we do have a battle card. Please reach out to us directly. We'd be happy to share you a comparison sheet for Amplitude versus Percy. Can you arrange some webinar for Speed Lab and how we can integrate with framework for capturing performance metrics? Any answer for this, Ashish, Ninad?
Yeah, sure. So I guess feedback taken on this webinar for the Speed Labs, guys, will be happy to plan that out. But also on the same line, like we are looking for even this the performance metrics thing, like how you can do the front-end performance thing. So I know there are a couple of tools that you can try it out today, like SpeedLab is one, and also the Lighthouse from Google. So you guys can give it a try, which is we have the integration with our live product. So if you go with the live, you try, and there is a Lighthouse integration done. So you just know that how the website or the app performance looks like with our Speed Labs. But at the same time, we are even looking for the automation on this. So hopefully soon we'll be having the good updates on this as well. So at that time, we can probably find a webinar for speed labs along with the performance tool that we are looking for.
All right. There's a question from Oscar. Do you think I can be able to test using Facebook browser and TikTok browser? You want to take this up?
So on the browser side, you can definitely go check it out on our either live page or the automate. So there is a once you visit our automate page, it has a capability section, the capability builder. You can see all the browsers and framework supported. If you don't find the list over there, I don't remember the specific names, whether those are there in the list or not. But if you don't find the name, feel free to raise a support ticket for this. Like if you require a Facebook browser or a TikTok browser, and our product team on the infrastructure team, basically, that handles the infrastructure for all of the products we are talking about, we'll be happy to look at this demand and get this browser supported on the framework.
All right. Thanks, Ashish. And Mohan, yes, thank you so much for finding the Q&A interesting. And yeah, we can collate the Q&As along with the answers, and we can share it over email. Yeah, please feel free to drop an email to us. We'll be happy to share them. Okay, and all right, there's one question. Percy, give good comparison for snapshot. Do we have anything in Percy where we can generate report in some format like HTML?
Yes, so we have a node module even, guys. So definitely you can see something on Percy, but also Percy has a local reporting node module, which is also published as a node package. We'll be happy to share over the email or if in the chat box soon. So that you can leverage, like just search for Percy local report. You'll find the node module, and you can try that node module that generates the reporting local. It gives you all the snapshot, even it downloads the snapshot. So you can have the snapshot stored locally or in your somewhere cloud, and also the reports like how many differences were found versus not found.
Awesome. Okay, we can take one more question. Yeah. Yes, if you have any question, please feel free to drop in our Q&A box. We'll wait for a minute for one more question. If not, then we will proceed to the next.
Well, guys, you might be thinking of certain things. Just one update that I would like to share. If you find any framework, like somebody asked for the browser supported, if you find any framework that is not supported, feel free to let us know. We are working on like heavily investing on all the frameworks so that you guys get started quickly, because we do understand like it's your workflow that you have opted for a framework based on your preferences. So that's becomes like a blocker, and we take it very seriously. So if you feel like something is not there, let us know. We'll be giving you the ETAs accordingly, but we'll be definitely onboarding all the frameworks so that you guys get started smoothly on this.
There's one question, Ashish. What makes it better than regular snapshot testing?
So regular snapshot testing, I guess, might require certain more clarity, guys, from your side, what you mean by regular snapshot testing. But if it is, if I can recall, like something that Cypress supports, which is snapshot testing. So that's not like a snapshot testing of what you are doing on Cypress. It's like you saw the demos, right? Where we are saying that when you have a page, it highlights any pixel differences. And also the regular snapshot testing, generally, it's a DOM-based testing, if I remember correctly. That's where sorry for my ignorance if I need more clarity. But in my knowledge, it's like mostly done based on the DOM elements, where certain DOM elements were compared against the other one. So in those scenarios, that's not the exactly the visual testing. It's mostly the DOM-based snapshot testing, which Cypress or some of the open source tools support. And also the capabilities like on which infrastructure you are capturing. So let's say you might do the snapshot testing somewhere on a Chrome running on your CI machine, some automation that you might do. But Chrome running on Windows 10 or Chrome running on Windows 11, it's not feasible in your CI systems. Like that's where you require the automate kind of product, where you have the browsers and operating system combination, and not just browser and operating system, but their versions as well. Because something working on the latest Chrome might not be working 10 versions back because of the compatibility issues. So you might want to do a regression check over there.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions, please feel free to send us email or get in touch with our support. or even just reach out to us on LinkedIn. You guys know us by now, I hope. Yeah, feel free to say hi on LinkedIn. I would be happy to connect. We've come to an end of the webinar. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking around with us for 62 minutes in total. We hope you found it useful. We really enjoyed having you guys over, and then give us the opportunity to talk about Percy platform at Percy. And yeah, we'd love to connect more with you. If you have any questions, like I've said before, please feel free to reach out to us. Yeah, have a good day and have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. Thank you for joining and giving us this opportunity.